Welcome to the Depth Dive. Today we're embarking on a really compelling journey, I think. We're delving into one of life's most profound quests. How to not just add years to our life, but how to fill those years with genuine purpose and profound happiness. For those of you listening, navigating the relentless demands of the medical world, the operating theaters, the diagnostic challenges, ceaseless pursuit of better patient outcomes, imagine if there was an ancient, powerful philosophy, a hidden key perhaps, something that could guide you to sustained joy and vitality even when your professional life feels utterly all-consuming. Today, we're exploring exactly that, a captivating Japanese concept known as Ikigai. It's far more than just a word. It roughly translates to the happiness of always being busy, or maybe more profoundly, your reason for being. It's that intrinsic motivation, that deep-seated sense of purpose that genuinely gets you out of bed each morning, eager for the day ahead, whether you're facing a complex surgical list or a challenging consultation. Our mission for you, our dedicated listener, is to unlock the essence of Ikigai. We'll uncover its powerful connection to remarkable longevity and reveal practical, evidence-backed strategies. We're talking diet, gentle movements, mental fortitude, the art of deep resilience. This isn't about abstract theories that just gather dust. It's about actionable insights, things you can integrate directly into your busy, impactful life. We'll journey from understanding what Ikigai truly means through the surprising science of anti-aging to the therapeutic power of purpose, that exhilarating state of flow, and finally cultivating deep resilience. It promises to be, quite an illuminating discussion.
Indeed. And for professionals like yourselves, people who dedicate so much to the well-being of others, this concept really resonates, I think, uniquely so. The idea that a life well lived is intrinsically linked to a sense of purpose is, of course, universal. But Ikigai provides a remarkably actionable framework. It moves beyond mere contemplation to practical application in your daily existence.
I couldn't agree more. So let's start by truly unpacking this concept. We often hear Ikigai bandied about, but for the Japanese, it's clearly more than just a buzzword, isn't it? It's a core life philosophy deeply embedded in their culture. Professor, what does it truly mean to have a reason for being in this specific context?
That's a crucial starting point. The word Ikigai itself offers us a powerful clue. It combines Iki, meaning life, with Gai, which translates roughly to be worthwhile. Now, the character Gai is particularly fascinating because it also carries nuances of armor, number one, and even to be the first to head into battle, implying initiative and, a valued contribution. So right from its linguistic roots, Ikigai suggests a proactive, valued, and enriching life purpose. For the Japanese, it is truly the fundamental reason that motivates them to get up in the morning. It leads to a profound sense of satisfaction and meaning in their daily existence. And it's not always about grand, sweeping gestures either. Often it's about the consistent, meaningful engagement in something personally significant. That might be tending a garden, perfecting a craft, or dedicating oneself to family.
And nowhere is this more evident than in Okinawa, right? That renowned blue zone that really put this concept on the global map. The statistics are just striking. 24.55 people over 100 for every 100,000 inhabitants. That's significantly more than the global average. And then there's Ugimi, famously dubbed the Village of Longevity. What is it about this region that contributes to such remarkable longevity beyond the obvious things like a healthful diet or the climate?
The Okinawan phenomenon is captivating, and it's certainly multifactorial. Yes, a healthful diet rich in vegetables and lean protein, a simple outdoor life, abundant green tea consumption, and the subtropical climate are frequently cited. Of course, but deeper investigation suggests that a clearly defined Ikigai and robust community ties, known as moai, are equally, if not perhaps more, important.
Moai, what exactly are those?
Think of moai as an informal, close-knit group of friends who look out for one another. They offer emotional, sometimes even financial support throughout life. It's a built-in social safety net. The authors who immersed themselves in Ogimi shared a palpable sense of uncommon joy among the residents. They discovered local expressions like ichibachode, meaning treat everyone like a brother, and yuimaru, which emphasizes teamwork. These cultural tenets, fostering connection and mutual support, undoubtedly contribute to their overall well-being, and by extension, their longevity.
That's fascinating.
And for our listeners, especially those of you leading high-stakes teams or navigating demanding clinical environments, think about this. What if that ancient Okinawan moai wasn't just a social circle, but your most potent anti-burnout strategy? What single, non-obvious ritual could you implement this week to foster that brotherhood dynamic within your department? Not just for camaraderie, but as a deliberate act of professional resilience.
That's a powerful connection to make. particularly when we consider the systemic pressures of professional life in medicine. It leads us neatly to another remarkable observation from Japan, the don't retire imperative. It seems there's no direct Japanese equivalent for leaving the workforce for good, as we understand it in the West. That's quite a departure from our typical career trajectories, isn't it?
It absolutely is, and it's a profound cultural distinction. Dan Buettner, who has extensively studied these blue zones, highlights that having a purpose is so vital in Japanese culture that the concept of permanent, full cessation of work simply doesn't really exist. Individuals continue to engage in meaningful activities for as long as their health allows. And this isn't just about physical activity, it's about sustained mental and social engagement, keeping the mind sharp, staying connected.
So, what does that imply for us, for medical professionals?
Well, it's a powerful challenge to the traditional notion of a fixed retirement age. It suggests that continuous engagement in valued pursuits, whether that's part-time consultancy, mentorship of junior surgeons, volunteer work, perhaps developing a long-held passion for medical history, can contribute significantly to both health and happiness well into advanced age. It redefines what retirement could mean. Not an end, necessarily, but a transition to different, perhaps equally meaningful forms of contribution. A continued sense of ikigai.
Finding a different kind of purpose, a new avenue for contribution.
Right.
Now, shifting gears slightly, let's talk about the cutting-edge science of staying young. There's this intriguing idea from future-oriented researchers about aging's escape velocity. What does this concept entail, and what are its implications for how we understand longevity?
Ah, yes. This is where the discussion moves into fascinating, perhaps slightly speculative scientific territory. Researchers like Ray Kurzweil and Aubrey de Grey propose aging's escape velocity as a theoretical point. The idea is that for every year you live, technology and medical advancements add at least another year to your life expectancy.
So you'd effectively outrun aging.
Theoretically, yes. They use a vivid analogy. Imagine a rabbit representing your death, constantly moving ahead. Our technological progress is the speed at which this rabbit is moving away from us. If we can make the rabbit run faster than we age, for instance, by gaining that year of life expectancy for every year lived, then theoretically, yes, we could achieve biological immortality. Now, there's a healthy debate, of course. Some biologists predict a cellular limit around 120 years. But the concept itself underscores the forward-looking nature of scientific discussion around aging. It's a powerful thought experiment about how far medical science might push the boundaries of human lifespan.
Outrunning death through science. It's quite a thought. But beyond that futuristic vision, what about the more immediate, tangible link between an active mind and a youthful body? The classical adage, mens sana in corpore sano, a sound mind in a sound body, certainly suggests a deep connection. How does mental activity directly impact physical aging from a scientific standpoint?
That classical adage holds profound truth, and modern neuroscience increasingly confirms it. We know that a lack of mental exercise demonstrably leads to the deterioration of neurons and neural connections. This directly reduces our cognitive reactivity and overall brain health. The Israeli neuroscientist Shlomo Brezhnitz has argued extensively for the necessity of constant brain stimulation to maintain sharpness. He suggests we often fall into ingrained habits, which, while efficient, allow the brain to operate on autopilot.
Right, doing things without really thinking.
Precisely. And to truly stay sharp, Brezhnitz argues, we must confront the brain with new information, breaking these routines. This process forces the brain to create new connections and essentially revitalizes it. And the benefits are tangible. Collins Hemingway and Brezhnitz's work highlights how mental training positively impacts mood and self-image. It fosters a sense of accomplishment and improved self-perception.
So it's about actively challenging the brain.
Exactly. If you're feeling cognitively sluggish after, say, a marathon of familiar surgical procedures or patient consultations, the real anti-aging hack isn't just a new diet. It's deliberately learning something outside your core specialism, perhaps a new language app on your commute or a complex strategy game after dinner. It's about injecting novelty to literally rewire your brain for sustained agility, which is vital for any demanding medical career.
That's a compelling argument for lifelong learning and intellectual engagement, particularly pertinent in fields like ours that demand constant cognitive agility. Now, let's talk about a pervasive modern issue, stress. It's often accused of being a major accelerant of aging. What's the scientific consensus on stress and longevity? And crucially, is it always a negative force?
Stress. It's a complex beast, isn't it? Its effects on longevity are well documented. The American Institute of Stress concludes that the majority of health problems today are, in fact, stress-induced. Research from Heidelberg University Hospital, for instance, showed that even a short, stressful event like a job interview could activate immune responses that damage healthy cells, accelerating aging.
Wow, even short-term stress.
Yes. And similarly, a University of California study on stressed mothers demonstrated that chronic stress promotes cellular aging by weakening telomeres, those protective caps on our chromosomes, vital for cellular regeneration.
Telomeres, right. They get shorter with age, and stress seems to speed that up.
Exactly. Physiologically, stress triggers the fight or flight mechanism. The pituitary gland activates, releasing corticotropin, which affects the sympathetic nervous system, prompting the adrenal glands to release adrenaline and cortisol. Adrenaline primes our body for immediate action, increased heart rate, respiration. Cortisol boosts dopamine and blood glucose, giving us that charged-up feeling. Now, this was incredibly beneficial for our cave-dweller ancestors facing acute dangers, helped them outrun predators. The problem for modern humans, particularly in demanding professions, is that we experience this response in chronic low-dose forms.
The constant drip feed of stress.
Precisely. From incessant notifications, demanding work environments, packed clinic schedules, continuous on-call shifts, this constant low-level drip of cortisol isn't just about feeling charged up. It's subtly eroding your memory, stealing your sleep, pushing your blood pressure higher. It's a physiological tax on your longevity that our ancestors never paid. It can lead to adrenal fatigue, chronic fatigue syndrome, depression, irritability, insomnia, high blood pressure. The list goes on.
So chronic low-level stress is definitely harmful. I think we all recognize those symptoms in ourselves and colleagues sometimes. But you hinted earlier that a little stress might actually be beneficial. That sounds counterintuitive.
Indeed. There's a critical nuance here. While prolonged, intense stress is a clear enemy of longevity, low levels of stress can, in fact, be beneficial. Dr. Howard S. Friedman's research, which spanned over 2 decades, found something quite interesting. Individuals who maintained a low level of stress, who faced challenges, and pursued their work passionately, tended to live longer than those who opted for a more relaxed lifestyle or retired early.
Really? So being challenged is good.
It seems so. His conclusion was that a small dose of stress encourages healthier habits, perhaps less smoking and alcohol consumption, and keeps us engaged and purposeful. It keeps us on our toes, in a good way. It's not surprising, then, that many supercentenarians report having lived intense lives and working well into old age. The key is distinguishing between debilitating chronic stress and the kind of acute, manageable stress that fosters growth and engagement. Think of the healthy tension before a complex surgical procedure that sharpens focus, rather than paralyzing anxiety. That's beneficial stress.
That reframes stress quite significantly. Not just an enemy, but potentially a catalyst for positive habits if managed correctly. Given that, what practical countermeasures or strategies can we employ? How can we mitigate the harmful effects of stress, particularly those of us in high-pressure roles like a busy consultant or a resident on a long rotation?
Mindfulness stands out as a highly effective countermeasure. It's a stress reduction method that fundamentally shifts our focus to self-awareness, connecting with the here and now, preventing our thoughts from spiraling into those uncontrollable patterns. Roberto Alcibar, a mindfulness instructor, uses the analogy of autopilot. We often snack or consume information without truly being present, don't we? Mindfulness helps us disengage from this autopilot and become fully conscious of our responses.
Becoming aware of the present moment.
Exactly. The methods include meditation, breathing exercises, yoga, body scans. These tools help train the mind to focus completely, which in turn significantly reduces stress and contributes to longevity. When you meditate, you're not just relaxing, you're actively training your brain. You're encouraging the production of alpha and theta waves, the very frequencies associated with deep calm and, interestingly, laser-like focus.
So it helps with concentration, too.
Absolutely. Imagine being able to instantly tap into that clarity, even in the middle of a chaotic clinic or a high-stakes negotiation. For medical professionals, constantly making critical decisions under pressure, cultivating mindfulness can mean the difference between reactive burnout and sustained focused performance. It's about building a mental spa you can access anywhere, a place of calm amidst the chaos.
That's incredibly practical advice. Building a portable mental spa, I like that. Moving from mitigating stress to actively finding meaning, let's explore Viktor Frankl's logotherapy. It feels like a very different approach from traditional psychoanalysis. Professor, what's its core philosophy?
Frankl's logotherapy is indeed distinct. As he famously put it, in logotherapy, the patient sits up straight and has to listen to things that are, on occasion, hard to hear, contrasting with psychoanalysis, where the patient lies down on a couch and tells you things that are, on occasion, hard to say.
Quite a difference in posture, literally and metaphorically.
Exactly. The central question Frankl would often pose to his patients was, why do you not commit suicide? This immediately highlights its purpose-driven nature. The core of logotherapy is to help individuals consciously discover their life's purpose. That purpose then serves as a means to overcome neuroses and to motivate progress. Frankl's profound insight, born from his own harrowing experiences in Auschwitz, was that everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way.
Wow.
This foundational belief underpins the idea that meaning is discovered, not created, that hyperintention, focusing too hard on happiness itself, can actually hinder fulfillment, and that humor can be a powerful coping mechanism, even in the darkest times. It ultimately suggests that our capacity for noble or terrible acts rests on our decisions, irrespective of our circumstances. For medical professionals, this principle can be transformative during challenging periods. It can enable you to redefine career paths or find deeper meaning in your demanding work and even the personal sacrifices it often entails.
Those are powerful, almost raw insights. Professor, how did Frankl, in those raw moments, actually guide someone to such a profound shift in perspective? Can you share a few illustrative case studies?
Certainly. Frankl himself serves as the primary case study. Imprisoned in Auschwitz, he was driven by the goal to rewrite his confiscated manuscript, which contained all his life's work. This burning purpose gave his life meaning amidst unimaginable horror. It compelled him to jot down fragments of his lost work on any scrap of paper he could find. His survival, he felt, was inextricably linked to this deeply personal ikigai. Then there's the American diplomat who sought Frankl's help. He initially believed his professional frustration stemmed from unresolved paternal issues, as his previous psychoanalyst had suggested. Frankl, however, quickly discerned that the diplomat's true frustration was simply a desire for a different career path.
As simple as that.
Sometimes, once he identified this and changed professions, his life took on profound meaning. He wasn't ill, he simply needed to discover his true purpose.
And the suicidal mother who found meaning through imagining her own deathbed, or the grief-stricken doctor who found purpose in his pain for his wife. These are incredibly poignant examples.
Precisely. The suicidal mother, contemplating taking her own life and that of her paralyzed son, was asked by Frankl to imagine herself on her deathbed. Through this negative visualization, she realized her life had been profoundly meaningful through her devotion to her children, especially her paralyzed son, ensuring he lived a good life. Her tears of despair turned to tears of acceptance and purpose. Similarly, the elderly doctor, consumed by grief after his wife's death, was asked by Frankl what would have happened if he died first. The doctor replied his wife would have suffered immensely. Frankl's simple yet profound response was, "You see, doctor, you have spared her all that suffering, but the price you have to pay for this is to survive and mourn her." In that instant, his pain was given a purpose. He bore his suffering so his beloved wife wouldn't have to.
That's incredibly moving.
These cases, disparate as they are, underscore how logotherapy helps individuals consciously discover meaning and purpose, even in the depths of suffering. It provides an existential fuel to move forward. For medical professionals, this can translate to finding meaning in the difficult cases, the long hours, or even the emotional burden of patient care. It's about reframing the inherent challenges as a testament to your dedication and impact.
It's incredible how finding that underlying purpose can completely reframe suffering or frustration. Now, let's turn to a Japanese approach to therapy that also focuses on purpose but has a different flavor. Shoma Morita's Morita therapy. How does it contrast with the Western focus on controlling emotions?
Morita therapy, originating from Japan around the same time as logotherapy and influenced by Zen Buddhism, takes a distinctly different approach. Many Western therapies primarily focus on controlling or modifying emotions. We often believe that by changing our thoughts, we can change our feelings and thus our actions. Morita, however, asserts that emotions are inherently difficult to control directly. Instead, his therapy advocates for accepting emotions without attempting to suppress or manipulate them.
Accepting them, not trying to fix them.
Exactly. He postulates that feelings change as a direct result of our actions, not our efforts to control the emotions themselves. He used the fable of a donkey tied to a post. The more the donkey struggles to escape, the more entangled it becomes. Similarly, trying to fight our fears or anxieties can paradoxically intensify them.
So it's less about grappling with your feelings and more about acting despite them. What are the core principles that guide this action-oriented approach?
Precisely. There are 3 core principles. Firstly, accept your feelings. Morita taught that emotions are like waves or the weather. They arise, they pass, and we cannot predict or control them. Trying to fight them only intensifies them. The Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh's quote perfectly encapsulates this. "Hello, solitude. How are you today? Come sit with me and I will care for you." It's about welcoming emotions, observing them without judgment, rather than trying to get rid of them.
Just letting them be there.
Yes. Secondly, do what you should be doing. This is profoundly action-oriented. The focus isn't on eliminating symptoms because recovery, or a shift in feelings, is seen as a natural byproduct of action. The emphasis is squarely on the present moment and taking the appropriate action, even if you are experiencing discomfort. Marita believed that character is built through what we do, not through intellectualizing our feelings. The therapy doesn't offer explanations or encourage extensive journaling. Instead, it guides patients to learn through direct experience and activity.
Learning by doing, essentially.
Exactly. And thirdly, and critically, discover your life's purpose. While emotions might be beyond our direct control, our actions are not. This is where Ikigai comes back in. Marita's mantra was, what do we need to be doing right now? What action should we be taking? Having a clear sense of purpose of your Ikigai empowers you to direct your actions regardless of your emotional state. For a surgeon, this means meticulously preparing for an operation even if you're feeling pre-op nerves. For a diagnostician, it's about calmly assessing symptoms despite feeling pressure. The structured approach of Marita therapy, often involving phases of isolation and occupational therapy, is designed to facilitate the shift from emotional preoccupation to purposeful action.
It sounds like a powerful way to cultivate self-responsibility and calm amidst the chaos. And it brings us back to that central theme, finding your Ikigai. It's truly an accessible personal mission, isn't it? This existential fuel that, once found, requires courage and effort to pursue.
Precisely. Both Frankel's logotherapy and Marita therapy, despite their different methodologies, converge on this fundamental truth. An individual's sense of purpose, their Ikigai, is a vital driving force. It's not something granted from the outside, but rather an inner quest. Once you've identified it, the journey then becomes one of consistent, courageous effort to align your daily actions with that deeper meaning. It's a continuous process of refinement, accepting life's imperfections, but always moving forward with intentionality. Much like the iterative process of refining a surgical technique or, say, a research protocol.
And a key part of that forward momentum seems to be the concept of flow, as described by Csikszentmihalyi. We've all experienced it, haven't we? That captivating psychological state where you lose yourself completely in an activity. Whether it's reading a book, mastering a new skill, or even performing a complex surgical procedure, time just seems to vanish. What exactly is this state, and why is it so crucial to our happiness and Ikigai?
Flow is indeed a captivating state, an optimal experience, as Csikszentmihalyi calls it. He defines it as a state of pleasure, delight, creativity, and process when we are completely immersed in life, where nothing else seems to matter. It's that feeling of being so utterly absorbed in an activity that your sense of time dissolves, your ego fades, and your mind is in order, focused entirely on the task at hand.
Completely absorbed.
Yes. And this isn't just for artists or extreme athletes. Csikszentmihalyi's research found it universal across cultures and professions, from chess players to surgeons. When you're in flow, you're not distracted by worries or external stimuli. Your skills perfectly match the challenge, leading to a deep sense of enjoyment and accomplishment. This optimal experience is fundamental to happiness and to living by your Ikigai, because it represents moments where you are fully engaged in something meaningful to you. Think of a surgeon performing a complex operation. They're often in a state of intense, focused flow. Every movement and decision is precise and integrated. The outside world fades away. This isn't just about technical proficiency. It's about a deep, almost meditative immersion in their purpose.
That's a powerful parallel to the medical world. So if flow is so vital, how do we actively cultivate it? What strategies can we employ to enter and sustain the state more frequently, particularly in our professional lives where distractions are absolutely rampant?
There are several key strategies. Firstly, there's the Goldilocks zone of difficulty. The task must be challenging enough to prevent boredom and apathy, but not so difficult as to cause frustration and abandonment.
Not too easy, not too hard.
Exactly. The ideal is slightly outside your comfort zone, a stretch that requires focus and skill. Ernest Hemingway put it nicely, "Sometimes I write better than I can." For medical professionals, this means actively seeking out new challenges within their expertise, learning new software for patient records, taking on a more complex surgical case, incorporating a new diagnostic technique. It's about adding that little something extra to stay engaged and growing, pushing your boundaries incrementally. Secondly, clear, concrete objectives with a process focus. While the objective needs to be clear, like in video games or sports, the focus must be on the process once the activity begins.
Focus on the journey, not just the destination.
In a way, yes. Joy Ito and Jeff Howe advocate for compass over maps, meaning a clear direction is more valuable than a rigid, detailed plan in an unpredictable world. Set daily objectives, a specific number of patient notes to complete, perhaps, or a certain number of research papers to review, but then, crucially, do not obsess over the ultimate goal. Just as an Olympic athlete focuses on the present moment of performance rather than the medal, we must immerse ourselves in the immediate task. And the third, perhaps most challenging in our modern world, is the single-task advantage. We live in a relentless distraction economy. Scientific evidence clearly shows that multitasking reduces productivity by at least 60%.
60%, that's huge.
It is. And it can lower IQ by more than 10 points. Our brains are simply not designed for parallel processing. Constant switching wastes enormous energy, leads to more mistakes and less retention. The Stanford University study by Clifford Ivar Nass on students distracted by irrelevant stimuli vividly illustrates this. Those accustomed to multitasking were significantly less efficient at focused tasks. For anyone in a demanding, detail-oriented profession like medicine, where precision and patient safety are paramount, this is absolutely critical.
So what practical steps can we take?
Well, things like avoiding screens for the first and last hour of the day, turning off phone notifications during focused work, use Do Not Disturb mode, designating tech fasting days, batching email responses instead of reacting instantly, using techniques like the Pomodoro technique, 25 minutes of focused work, 5 minutes break, establishing work rituals, finding distraction-free environments. These steps are vital for preserving the cognitive energy needed for deep, high-quality work and for enabling flow, particularly when you're responsible for critical patient outcomes.
That deep dive into focus is particularly insightful. I know I certainly felt a sudden urge to turn off literally everything when I heard that statistic about multitasking lowering IQ. It really brings home the cost, doesn't it? But seeing how ingrained flow is in Japanese culture, through their intense dedication, it makes sense why they value it so highly. Professor, tell us more about how this plays out in their daily lives and professions.
It's profoundly embedded. The Japanese concept of ganbaru, or perseverance, reflects this deep absorption in tasks. Take the takumi, the master artisans. Toyota employs takumi who can craft specific screws by hand, possessing irreplaceable manual skills. We encountered a takumi in Kumano near Hiroshima who exquisitely sorted makeup brush bristles by hand. Her hands move with such grace and speed, completely one with her tools and the bristles. This deep absorption and connection to their craft epitomizes flow. Even Steve Jobs was captivated by Japanese artisans, engineers like Sony's Zen philosophy cuisine. He admired their sophisticated simplicity and meticulous attention to detail. He sought out artisans who embodied this deep connection to their craft, like the porcelain artist Yukio Shakunaga.
Ah, like Jiro from Jiro Dreams of Sushi.
That's exactly. Jiro Ono. For over 80 years, he's meticulously made sushi. The documentary highlights his apprentices, spending years perfecting seemingly simple tasks, like making a thin omelet. Jiro and his son achieve flow in their meticulous process, finding happiness not in expansion or profit, but in the perfection of their craft. This resonates with the Shinto belief of kami, a spirit within objects, where artisans become one with their creations. This extreme dedication and pursuit of mastery, whether it's in crafting sushi or performing a complex surgical repair, is how flow manifests in everyday life there.
It's a dedication that transcends typical notions of work and leisure. But what about those mundane, repetitive tasks we all face? Paperwork, administrative duties, charting. Is there a way to find joy and focus in those too?
Absolutely. And that's where the concept of microflow comes in. It's about adding a layer of complexity or ritual to amuse oneself, when the task itself isn't sufficiently challenging. A charming example is the enthusiastic Shinjuku supermarket elevator operator, who performs a precise sequence of movements, like a geisha, transforming a simple job into an art form. Bill Gates reportedly finds pleasure in washing dishes by establishing a specific, ritualized order. Even the physicist Richard Feynman apparently enjoyed painting office walls when not engaged in complex problems.
Finding the game within the task.
Precisely. Microflow helps reduce boredom and stress in routine procedures, administrative tasks, or even personal chores. For our listeners in medical fields, this could mean finding a specific, almost ritualistic way to complete patient charting or organizing instruments before a procedure, or even preparing for a clinic day. It's about finding a rhythm and a small challenge within the routine to maintain focus and reduce mental fatigue.
That's a wonderful way to infuse meaning into the everyday. And speaking of mental training, How do meditation and rituals contribute to accelerating our access to the state of flow?
Mental training is absolutely key to quickening access to flow. Meditation, for instance, is a powerful mental muscle exercise. It's about calming the mind, observing thoughts without judgment, and focusing on something like the breath. You might remember the story of the South Korean archer who won Olympic gold in 1988. He meditated for 2 hours daily. It highlights its role in peak performance and focus. Meditation generates those alpha and theta brainwaves, promoting relaxation and clarity. The goal isn't absolute mental silence, which is often misunderstood, but rather learning to observe thoughts without being swept away by them. This is incredibly useful for maintaining composure during high-stakes medical decisions.
And rituals.
Beyond meditation, rituals play a profound role. Humans are inherently ritualistic beings. In Japanese culture, influenced by Confucianism, Buddhism, Shintoism, rituals often take precedence over absolute rules. They permeate daily life and even business practices. These rituals provide clear rules and objectives, breaking down larger goals into manageable substeps. This structure makes it significantly easier to enter a state of flow. The mantra here could be rituals over goals. The happiest people aren't necessarily those who achieve the most, but rather those who spend more time in flow, finding joy in the doing, not just the result. By consciously incorporating small rituals into your professional routine, perhaps a specific way to start your clinic day, or a precise sequence for preparing for a procedure, you can prime your mind for flow and enhance your focus and enjoyment. You can turn the mundane into a meditative practice.
So flow is like a muscle, and rituals are its training regimen. It sounds like by paying attention to what activities bring us into that state, we can gain immense insight. How can our listeners use this awareness of flow to actually discover their own ikigai?
The process is quite introspective, really. I'd encourage listeners to reflect. What activities in your life consistently bring you into that state of flow? Think about it. What do they have in common? Are they solitary or social? Primarily physical or mental? The answers to these questions can indeed reveal an underlying ikigai. If you find deep absorption and joy when solving complex diagnostic puzzles, that suggests an ikigai linked to intellectual challenge and problem solving. If it's in teaching or mentoring junior colleagues, it points to an ikigai rooted in nurturing growth and sharing knowledge.
Following the feeling of flow.
Exactly. The more you spend time on these activities, the stronger that flow muscle becomes, and the clearer your ikigai often reveals itself. And don't be afraid to explore similar new pursuits either. If you find flow in detailed surgical planning, perhaps a hobby involving intricate model building might also resonate. Flow is truly a compass guiding you closer to your reason for being.
That's a wonderful way to think about it, using flow as a compass. Now, shifting to the more physiological aspects of longevity, Japan consistently boasts the world's highest life expectancy, and Okinawa, within Japan, has an even higher average. Professor, what are the dietary secrets of these centenarians? How can busy professionals adapt these principles?
The Okinawan diet.
Yeah.
It's a cornerstone of their longevity, no doubt. It's been extensively studied by researchers like Makoto Suzuki and the Wilcox brothers in the Okinawa program. Several key principles emerge. Firstly, variety is paramount. Okinawan centenarians consume an average of 18 different foods daily.
18.
Daily.
Yeah.
Daily. And they regularly incorporate over 200 distinct foods, including a wide array of spices. This means eating the rainbow, as they say. Red peppers, carrots, spinach, cauliflower, eggplant. Vegetables, potatoes, legumes, and soy products like tofu are staples, comprising over 30% of their daily calories. For a busy medical professional, this translates to prioritizing a wide array of vegetables and meals. Perhaps meal prepping colorful, varied salads or stir-fries could be a practical approach. Secondly, their diet is grain-based, with white rice being a primary food. Thirdly, they consume very low sugar and salt, about 1/3 as much sugar and half as much salt, roughly 7 jellies per day, compared to the rest of Japan.
That's a big difference.
It is. This means being mindful of hidden sugars in processed foods and reducing reliance on salty snacks. Crucial for maintaining energy during long shifts without those sugar crashes. And finally, their intake of meat and fish is moderate. Fish about 3 times a week, and pork only once or twice a week, indicating a preference for plant-based protein and lean sources. And crucially, Okinawans exhibit calorie restriction. They average around 1,785 calories per day, significantly less than in the rest of Japan or certainly the U.S. This low caloric intake is common across all blue zones and is linked to longer life and reduced IGF-1, that's insulin-like growth factor 1, a protein associated with aging.
And isn't there an ancient saying they follow about stopping before feeling completely full? How does that work in practice?
Yes, That's the famous hara-hachi-bu, fill your belly to 80%. It's ancient wisdom advising against overeating.
Mm.
It reduces digestive strain and cellular oxidation. Practical tips: skipping dessert perhaps, reducing portion sizes, using many small plates, which is typical in Japanese serving styles and naturally encourages varied, smaller intake. This practice, observed in Buddhist temples for centuries, likely predates modern nutritional science, but aligns perfectly with its findings on the benefits of caloric restriction for longevity and those reduced levels of IGF-1.
Right.
For medical professionals who often eat on the go or during brief breaks, this means being acutely aware of your body's signals, maybe setting a timer for your meal to consciously slow down, or simply putting less food on your plate initially to avoid that mindless overconsumption.
So it's about mindful eating, not just what you eat, but how much. And I imagine antioxidants play a big role in warding off cellular aging.
Absolutely. Antioxidants are vital. They neutralize those free radicals that damage cells and accelerate aging. And the Okinawan diet is absolutely packed with these powerhouses. Key examples include tofu, miso, tuna, carrots, goya, that's bitter melon kombu or sea kelp, cabbage, nori seaweed, onions, soy sprouts, sweet potatoes. The list goes on.
Any particular standouts?
Well, senpincha, their prevalent jasmine tea, is interesting. Beyond general green tea benefits, studies suggest jasmine tea specifically helps reduce blood cholesterol, lowers heart attack risk, strengthens the immune system, and relieves stress. And then there's shikawasa. It's an Okinawan citrus fruit. Despite its extreme acidity, it boasts 40 times more nobelates and a powerful flavonoid antioxidant than oranges, offering protection against arteriosclerosis, cancer, type 2 diabetes, and obesity.
40 times. Wow.
Impressive, isn't it? Now, for those of us in the West, accessible equivalents include things like broccoli, chard, oily fish, citrus fruits, berries, dried fruits, olive oil, and moderate red wine. While refined sugars, processed foods, and maybe cow's milk are best avoided, it's about empowering the body's natural defenses through smart dietary choices, fueling your demanding body and mind for sustained performance.
That's a comprehensive dietary blueprint for longevity. But diet alone isn't enough, is it? We also need to consider movement. The Blue Zone study suggests it's not about intense exercise, but consistent, gentle movement. Professor, what does the Ogimi approach to physical activity look like, and how can we adapt it to a busy professional life?
It's true. It's about moving most, not necessarily intensely. When visiting Ogimi, the village of longevity, the residents, even those well into their 80s and 90s, are remarkably active. They aren't sedentary people. Their daily lives involve a lot of walking, gardening, social activities like karaoke, and playing gateball, a kind of low-impact sport similar to croquet. They don't frequent gyms or engage in strenuous workouts, but they almost never stop moving as part of their daily routine.
Just constant, gentle activity.
Exactly. This contrasts sharply with the dangers of sedentary behavior. We know metabolism slows by 90% after just 30 minutes of sitting. Good cholesterol can drop by 20% after only 2 hours. As Gavin Bradley, an expert on this, bluntly puts it, sitting is the new smoking.
That's a stark warning.
It is. So integrating movement into a professional life means simple, conscious habit changes. Taking the stairs instead of the lift in the hospital. Walking to work or taking a 20-minute daily walk during your lunch break. Having walking meetings, perhaps. Pacing whilst on phone calls. It's about weaving activity into the fabric of daily life, without needing dedicated gym time if that's unrealistic.
And alongside these natural movements, Eastern disciplines like yoga, qigong, and tai chi are often highlighted. What's their contribution to physical longevity and well-being, especially for maintaining the fine motor skills and mental acuity needed in medicine?
These ancient disciplines, now gaining popularity in the West, have been practiced for millennia in the East for health promotion. They are scientifically proven to offer extraordinary benefits. Tai Chi, for example, has been shown to slow osteoporosis and Parkinson's disease progression, increase circulation, improve muscle tone and flexibility. Emotionally, they serve as powerful shields against stress and depression. Qigong, which translates as life force work, also offers a wide range of benefits from modifying brainwaves and balancing hormones to improving heart function and reducing the side effects of cancer treatments.
So they work on multiple levels.
Yes. These practices, through their defined steps and fluid movements, not only maintain physical health, but also actively promote that state of flow we discussed earlier. They enhance mental clarity and coordination, which is absolutely crucial for surgical precision or complex diagnostic work. There's also a uniquely Japanese practice called radio taiso. It's a pre-WWII morning warm-up. A simple series of dynamic stretches and joint mobility exercises, often performed in groups to foster unity. Many Ogimi centenarians practice it daily, even from wheelchairs. It reminds us of the importance of basic bodily movements often neglected in modern life.
Like basic maintenance for the body.
Exactly. Then you have yoga, with its objectives of connecting to nature and purifying body and mind, using poses like the sun salutation to create flowing sequences. Tai Chi, originally a Chinese martial art, evolved from self-defense into a practice for health and inner peace, emphasizing control through stillness and overcoming force through finesse, exemplified by movements like wave hands like clouds. And Qigong focuses on regulating body, breath, mind, life force, and spirit through practices like the Five Elements series. All these disciplines underscore the importance of conscious breathing. Sun Simio's 6 healing sounds, for instance, illustrates how coordinating movement, breath, and sounds helps calm the soul and connects consciousness with the body. This is vital for reducing worry, enhancing longevity, and ultimately your professional performance.
It's clear that purposeful movement combined with mindful breathing is essential. But even with all these practices, life inevitably throws challenges our way. Professor, how do these philosophies teach us to face adversity without letting stress and worry age us? This brings us to the crucial concept of resilience.
Indeed. Resilience is a shared trait among those with a clear ikigai, their ability to persevere despite adversity. It's not just about bouncing back, it's an outlook that helps you stay focused on objectives, adapt to change, and control what is within your power. It's perfectly encapsulated by Reinhold Niebuhr's Serenity Prayer. God, give us grace to accept with serenity the things that cannot be changed, courage to change the things which should be changed, and the wisdom to distinguish the one from the other. The Japanese proverb, Nanakarobiya Oki, fall 7 times, rise 8, perfectly illustrates this spirit of indomitable perseverance, a vital trait for anyone in a demanding profession like medicine.
That's a powerful mantra to carry into a busy week. Fall 7 times, rise 8. And how do ancient philosophies like Buddhism and Stoicism contribute to cultivating this emotional resilience, particularly when facing professional setbacks or difficult patient outcomes?
Both Buddhism, originating with Siddhartha Gautama, and Stoicism, founded by Zeno of Citium and championed by figures like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius, offer profound wisdom here. Despite their differences, both traditions ultimately aim to control negative emotions and desires, fostering a state of tranquility, apatheia, or freedom from disturbance in Stoicism. They teach that while we can enjoy life's pleasures, we must not be enslaved by them, and we must be prepared for their disappearance. The goal isn't to eliminate all feelings, but specifically the negative ones: anxiety, fear, anger.
Managing the negative emotions.
Yes. The Stoics, for example, practice negative visualization. They would imagine, and sometimes even physically rehearse, worst-case scenarios like Seneca living a week without servants to prepare for potential loss and build inner strength, rather than living in constant fear of what might happen.
Preparing for the worst to appreciate the present.
Exactly. A surgeon could adapt this by mentally rehearsing potential complications, not to invite them, of course, but to reduce the shock and emotional fallout if they were to occur. Similarly, Zen Buddhist meditation trains the mind to observe thoughts and emotions as they arise, without judgment. This prevents us from being consumed by anger or jealousy, a useful skill when dealing with challenging colleagues or perhaps frustrated patients. The mantra Om Padme Hum is also used for purifying negative emotions. Both philosophies teach that the present is all that truly exists and can be controlled. They encourage reflecting on the impermanence of things, not with pessimism, but to deepen appreciation for the present and those around us. Marcus Aurelius likened loved ones to leaves on a tree, destined to fall. This awareness should foster deeper connection now.
These concepts of impermanence and living in the moment are beautifully articulated in Japanese philosophy through wabi-sabi and ichigo-ichi. What do these mean, and how do they further enhance our resilience, maybe particularly in the professional sphere?
These are truly profound Japanese concepts. Wabi-sabi is about finding beauty in imperfection, transience, and incompleteness. Think of a cracked teacup, prized for its unique history. Or Japanese wooden architecture designed for impermanence, like the Grand Shrine of Eyes, which is rebuilt every 20 years. It teaches us to accept the world's natural flaws as opportunities for growth and to appreciate the unique, fleeting nature of everything. It's a complete contrast to the Western pursuit of enduring perfection.
Embracing imperfection.
Yes. For a medical professional, wabi-sabi offers a powerful lens through which to view complex patient cases or imperfect treatment outcomes. Recognizing that perfection is rarely attainable, but growth and meaning can always be found within the inherent imperfections of life and human biology. Complementing this is Ichigo-ichi, which translates roughly as, "This moment exists only now and won't come again." It's a powerful reminder to cherish each unique, unrepeatable encounter, whether it's a social gathering, a tea ceremony, or a martial arts session.
Or a patient consultation.
Absolutely. It encourages us to be fully present, free from past regrets or future worries. Think of each patient interaction, each consultation, each surgery as a unique, unrepeatable moment that deserves your full presence and attention. Together, Wabi Sabi and Ichigo Ichie reinforce the profound wisdom of living in the moment, appreciating imperfection, and not fearing what cannot be controlled. They provide a mental framework for embracing change and adversity as integral parts of life's, well, beauty.
That's a beautiful way to frame resilience, finding beauty in imperfection and cherishing the unique present. But beyond just bouncing back, there's an even more advanced concept from Nassim Nicholas Taleb, anti-fragility. It suggests not just surviving disorder, but actually gaining from it. Professor, how does that work? And more importantly, how can we apply this in a high-stakes professional context?
Anti-fragility, as Taleb defines it, goes beyond mere resilience. While something fragile is weakened by harm, and something robust or resilient can withstand harm and remain the same, an anti-fragile entity actually gains from disorder. It grows stronger when harmed. The mythical Hydra, which grew 2 heads for every one cut off, is the classic example. Taleb illustrates this with the 2011 Tushoku tsunami. Fukushima's nuclear plant was fragile. Towns like Ishinomaki and Keisanuma showed resilience by rebuilding. But Japanese construction companies demonstrated anti-fragility by benefiting immensely from the catastrophe, as the need to rebuild spurred their growth and innovation.
Gaining from chaos. So how can we apply this concept of anti-fragility to our own lives? How do we move beyond just coping to actually thriving amidst chaos in our careers?
Taleb offers practical steps. Firstly, create redundancies. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. This means diversifying your income, perhaps your friendships, your interests. For medical professionals, this might mean not relying solely on one career path or a single hospital system. Maybe cultivating secondary skills, exploring different areas of practice, or even building entrepreneurial ventures around your expertise. Remember the Ogimi seniors. They often have both a primary and secondary occupation, like tending vegetable gardens to sell produce. If your primary source of income or support faces an issue, these redundancies become opportunities rather than catastrophic failures. You become anti-fragile by having multiple points of strength.
Makes sense. Spreading the risk.
Exactly. Secondly, bet conservatively in some areas. Take many small risks in others. This is like a financial investment strategy. Allocate the majority of your resources to safe, stable areas, say 90% secure investments, but take many small, high-potential risks with a small percentage, maybe 10%, across 10 small startups. The idea is that individual small losses are absorbed, but you stand to benefit from disproportionately large gains if just 1 or 2 of those small risks pay off big. For a professional, this could mean maintaining stable core clinical practice while taking on small experimental projects, perhaps piloting a new patient education program, trying a novel, low-risk surgical approach, or investing a small amount of time in a side hustle that uses your medical knowledge differently. You're set up to gain from randomness, absorbing small failures while benefiting from unexpected successes.
Interesting. And the third point.
Thirdly, eliminate what makes you fragile. This is a good riddance approach. Instead of just adding new goals, actively identify and remove people, habits, or obligations that drain your energy or make you vulnerable. This could mean stopping unhealthy coping mechanisms like excessive alcohol or poor sleep, avoiding toxic relationships with demanding colleagues or patients, reducing unwanted administrative obligations, limiting excessive social media use that contributes to information overload and comparison culture. By shedding these sources of fragility, you make yourself inherently stronger and more resilient to the inevitable stresses of your profession. Ultimately, cultivating anti-fragility means embracing adversity as an opportunity for growth and refinement, constantly making corrections and setting new, better goals. As Taleb says, we need randomness, mass adventures, uncertainty, self-discovery, all these things that make life worth living. It's about developing an adaptive mindset that doesn't just withstand challenges, but actually improves because of them.
What an empowering way to conclude our deep dive. We've journeyed through the profound philosophy of Ikigai, exploring how a clear sense of purpose, alongside scientific insights into anti-aging practices, mindful living, deliberate movement, and cultivating that anti-fragile mindset can truly lead to a life of remarkable longevity and deep satisfaction. Your Ikigai is unique to you, but the search for meaning, that fundamental reason for being, is truly universal. If you found value in our deep dive today, please do consider rating and sharing this discussion. Your support helps us bring more insightful conversations like this to curious minds everywhere.
Indeed. And as we close, perhaps remember life isn't really a problem to be solved. As the wisdom we've explored suggests, the key is perhaps to have something that keeps you busy doing what you love, surrounded by those you cherish. Trust your intuition and your curiosity. They are your most powerful internal compasses, guiding you towards meaning and happiness, regardless of the patient case you're tackling, the research you're pursuing, or the path your professional life takes.